President Biden is promising a decisive response if Russia invades Ukraine, saying he told Russian President Vladimir Putin last week that there will be a heavy price to pay, including severe sanctions. The president making that statement after his call with Putin last week. But Putin firing back, reportedly saying to reporters in Russia that sanctions will be a, quote, colossal mistake. Let's bring in former State Department spokesperson Morgan Ortagus. Morgan, good to see you and Happy New Year. Let's go back to what the president said to Putin.
Happy New Year, John.
That the U.S. will respond decisively if Putin were to invade Ukraine. Do we have any idea what respond decisively entails?
No, and I don't know that Putin does either. It's been a perplexing 2021 for this administration as it relates to Russia and Ukraine. They have been very, very slow. Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, has slow-walked lethal aid to the Ukrainians. This is despite the Democratic Party losing their minds over the Trump doing so as well. So you have an administration that has talked a very big game on Russia, yet they have approved the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. They have not done as much, in my opinion, as they could do to support and aid Ukraine. And what was really somewhat laughable is the Democratic lawmakers coming out on the Sunday shows yesterday, Adam Schiff, my buddy, saying that he was basically perplexed and surprised, didn't understand why Putin was making these moves. Well, I think it's very obvious why Putin is doing it. This is the same people that were in charge in 2014 when he invaded Crimea. So he knows that there won't be a lot of consequences for his actions. Will it be different this time? Does he mean more? Does his tough talk mean more than President Obama's tough talk? I certainly hope so, because if not, you could see the dominoes begin to fall in the democratic states that surround Russia. Yeah,
because certainly there are a lot of people who represent an authoritarian side of governance who would like to absorb some more territory into the one that they have already.
Right.
Let's wind the clock back to last week. After his phone call with Vladimir Putin, here's what Biden said. He told Putin.
I'm not going to negotiate here in public, but we made it clear that he cannot, emphasize cannot, move on Ukraine.
Says, I'm not going to negotiate here, but we made it clear that he cannot move on Ukraine. However, Congressman Michael Waltz of Florida said this morning on Fox that there's a deep flaw in Biden's policy and that he's not doing anything to deter Putin from going in. He's only saying what he would do if Putin goes in. What do you think of that? Is that a flawed policy? Does he need to do something to deter him from making the move in the first place?
Yeah, my friend Mike Waltz really hit the nail on the head there. Listen, there's a couple things that can be done which the Biden administration threatened. So we could continue to sanction their energy sector. We could look at things like, and the Biden administration has again talked about this, about cutting off their banks from the global financial sector. So there are levers there, but these are all things that they are promising to do if they invade. I would be doing the opposite. I think the amount of troops, while it's not new that Russia amasses troops on the border with Ukraine, this is certainly at a level that we haven't seen since their last invasion. So there are things that we can begin to do now. And again, I go back to this concept of the lethal aid that could be provided to the Ukrainians now. Jake Sullivan and others sort of say, like, well, if we give them the weapons now, then that will sort of speed up the eventual Russian attack. But it also doesn't make any sense, John, in my mind, to wait to give Ukraine lethal aid until after the Russians invade. So they're trying not to provoke Russia. I understand that. I think that you have to play hardball with someone who is playing hardball. And that means that you have to show them that the consequences of an invasion would be so bloody and so costly that it will deter them. I just think it's hard to tell a thug and an autocrat like Putin, well, we're really going to get on to you. We're really going to give the Ukrainians the weapons after they invade. I hope their strategy works. Listen, foreign policy is very nuanced. It's very difficult. There's not one thing that works. But I think having strength works, and we certainly didn't see any of these actions when President Trump was in power.
Yeah, well, we'll see how things go, because U.S. officials will be meeting with Russian officials in Geneva the 9th and 10th of this month, and then there will be more meetings with our allies in Russia after that. So we'll keep a watch on this and see how it goes. Morgan, thank you for joining us, kicking us off today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.